Hi, I'm Marcus, and I'd like to thank you for watching the third episode of the Culinary Cantina. This week we're going to make a great kale and sausage soup that I think is perfect for this time of year. So this is what I call my Night's Watch kale and sausage soup. And I gave it that name because I think it's one of those dishes that when I read George R.R. Martin's books, I can just see the Night's Watch sitting around eating this kind of soup. And I think that's why I like it so much for this nice fall season. It's a great soup for cold weather. And one of the reasons it's great is because it has a number of complex flavors that are spicy. So this week on the Culinary Cantina, we're making my Night's Watch kale and sausage soup. So like I said earlier, this is absolutely one of my favorite fall dishes. And that's because it has a really low ingredient count, so it's inexpensive for you. It's incredibly easy to make. If you screw this one up, even I can't help you. And 3, it's warm. And I think in fall, there's something really important about like sitting around with your friends and sharing a hot meal. It just really builds camaraderie. So let's break down the ingredients for this one. We have 2 links of smoked sausage. I got them at the supermarket. I think they were like $3.50. We have a loaf of bread. I'm going to do this in a bread bowl. And I think that'll be really great. You could also just serve it in a regular bowl. 1 large sweet onion, chopped. This is kind of a unique ingredient that I feel like a lot of people, at least my age, don't use. This is 2 stems from leeks. And leeks are, I guarantee you, in your grocery store, they're tall and they're part of the onion family, but they have a really different flavor than the sweet onion. And it makes it nice and earthy. I have 3 cloves of garlic that I've chopped up fine. Half a teaspoon of crushed red chili. 6 Yukon Gold potatoes, which will get chopped up as well. 3 cans of chicken broth. And the star of the show, which is kale. So I want to talk about kale for a minute. This is an incredibly historic green vegetable that is really high in nutrients. The British actually put out a ton of advertising during World War II to have their people grow kale because it's so easy to grow, it grows well into the winter, and it can just provide everything your body needs. And I think for this entire giant thing of kale, which we're going to use in this soup, I paid $1.80. So very, very inexpensive. If you haven't tried kale before, I know it's a little intimidating, but give it a shot. I promise you, you're gonna like it. It's a really fun green vegetable. So those are all of the vegetables we need for this soup, but we're missing 2 things, and that's what we're gonna cook it in. First, we have a large pot. I know this is not something that everyone owns, but it is a good investment because once you start making soups, you're gonna get soup addicted like me. I make soup all the time, every week, and this pot is what I do it all in. So these ingredients, the pot and the spoon, it's all you need to make my Night's Watch sausage and kale soup. I promise you, you're gonna like it. So let's get to chopping. All right, so we're gonna chop up these potatoes. Again, this is a rustic soup. It's nothing to get too committed to here. And I just want to say that I really hope that people start to get more into soup making. I think it's just a really great activity. Moreover, it's one of those cooking events that you can do with your friends, get it on the stove, and then move on to other things. I really like to make soups when I have my friends over to either game or play board games because it's just a really nice community event. And I think especially in this time of year, man, it just really warms people up. And that's great. So think about that the next time you have your friends over. Instead of going out and getting Chinese takeout or ordering a pizza, try making a thing of soup. I think you'll really enjoy it. So I've put a base coat of oil in the bottom of my pan and thrown 1 small piece of onion in there. And it's starting to crackle and sizzle just a little bit. So I know it's time to add my first 2 ingredients. And that's going to be all of the sweet onion and all of the leek. Now I'm just going to give this a quick stir around and let it soften up. It should probably take about 1.5 to 2 minutes. So I've let the onions and the leek sit in for probably 2.5 minutes, and they're really starting to soften up. So now I'm just gonna give them a quick stir around, and the leeks are turning even greener, which just, I love crap like that. That's why I do this. I just think that's amazing to me how great and green these leeks come out to be. But now we're gonna throw in our minced garlic. Make sure you get it all, because garlic is, let's be honest, second only to bacon. And we're gonna throw in our crushed red chilies. And again, this is totally to your taste. The amount I've given you, this half tablespoon, makes it pretty hot. So, just gonna sprinkle those in. And come bring the camera over here and let's look at this. I wanna show you this color, it's just amazing. So you can see the leeks are just incredibly green now that they've been cooking, and that red from the chili just really brings out a lot of depth in this. And it's just, it's looking real good. All right, so these have only been in for like a minute and a half, and I'm telling you, this whole kitchen smells amazing. And one really awesome thing about cooking soup is you can just literally stick your head in here and get the full aroma. It's just so good, and you can't do that with other food. Smells great. All right, so now we're gonna put our potatoes in. Give those a quick stir. Super. And then we're gonna add our broth. And again, this is just 3 cans of organic chicken broth. I'm gonna grab my lid. And then you're just gonna let it simmer for 20, 25 minutes. Just walk away. All right, so we have let our soup simmer for about 25 minutes. And we're gonna take a look here. Oh yeah. Oh, it's boiling a little, so it got a little too hot. No big deal. It looks great, smells great. Yep, and I can just barely break my potatoes apart with my wooden spoon. So that's perfect. All right, next comes a very much optional step of making this dish, but I wanted to show it to you because it's how I do it sometimes. To get nice and creamy, I like to take half to 3/4 of the soup and run it through a food processor real quick, and that breaks everything down. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take my ladle here, I have my food processor, and I'm just gonna start to slowly ladle all of this into my food processor. So I will show you what that looks like in just a moment. It's nice and thick and creamy just like we want it. Here, grab the ladle and show you. Just like that, which is perfect. All right, so this now goes back in, and we'll add our final ingredients. All right, so the last 2 ingredients we have are the smoked sausage and the kale. Now, I've washed the kale, and I'm going to take the ends off because I personally find that the stems down here get a little stringy, and I don't want that in my soup. So all this is gonna go right into the compost. But this is all beautiful, leafy, wonderful kale. Now, cut it kind of big because it's gonna wilt down in the soup. So, and you don't want these little tiny strings of kale that fall off the spoon. You want big, hearty pieces of kale. So literally just rough chop it up. And I think part of what makes this soup so like Game of Thronesy, which is why I call it the Night's Watch sausage and kale stew, is because like it's just a very rustic soup. And I can just totally see, and I'm totally obsessed with Game of Thrones, those characters sitting in the cold north eating a soup like this. And I know when you cut this, you're gonna think like I have way more kale than I need. You don't, I promise. It's gonna shrink down pretty substantially. All right, so with that, we're gonna add the last 2 ingredients to the soup. And then on top of the kale, in goes the sausage. I'm gonna give that a big couple stirs, mix it all up. Perfect. Pop the lid on, make sure it's at medium, leave it for 5 to 7 minutes. All right, so there's 2 ways I like to serve this soup. One, traditional, bowls, spoons, very basic. The second, especially if I'm having friends over for like gaming night, D&D, board games, anything like that, I like to serve it in a bread bowl. I think it gives it a real old-timey feel. And it's super simple. This one is huge for demonstration purposes, but I would usually probably make them half this size. But you just take it, this is a sourdough, I got it from a local bakery, and you just really want to get a vast majority of the bread out. Like such, and like that. save this. This is going to be used for dipping a little bit later. And then I might even go in and carve some more of it out, just to give the soup a little bit more space to breathe. Perfect. Our bread bowl's cut, our soup's about ready, so let's pull it out. And there we have it, some delicious sausage and kale soup. All right, Will, so what do you think?
It's really good. I'm a big fan of soup in the bread bowl, so it's definitely up my alley. I've never really had a lot of kale, so I'm surprised by it. It's pretty good. I'm enjoying the sausage, enjoying the bread, enjoying the potatoes. Overall, quite yummy, I should say.
All right, Russ, what are your thoughts?
Well, I like the amount of spice you put in it. It's just enough spicy. And I kind of like how you put it in the food processor and gave it that applesauce-like texture.
We're done.
Pretty tasty.
Yeah, well, it's real cold here today, so we're going to down this, and then we got some other stuff to do. But thanks for tuning in for Culinary Cantina. We'll see you next time. Pepsi, official drink of the Culinary Cantina. Delicious.